Today we're taking a look at these NCAAF matches, which are happening on Saturday, September 10, 2022. And giving you match breakdowns, betting tips and predictions in general on these games. Welcome back to High Stakes, let's get straight into it. Also, don't forget to subscribe to get notified as soon as we release these sport prediction videos, and if you would like more betting tips and predictions, then check out our Patreon in the link down below. Our new Patreon is a way for us to help you improve your chances of making more money. Multiple plans are available for each and every one of you. You can get 30 extra betting picks all the way up to 360 extra betting picks per month. Stop wasting hours of your time searching for bad betting picks that ends up costing you a lot of money. Join the High Stakes Patreon now and get the best betting picks. Going back to our video, we will give you 2 betting picks for each game, a team pick and a total pick based on facts and detailed explanation. So make sure to watch our videos till the end so you don't miss any of our picks. Maryland vs Charlotte. That's a lot of points to lay on the road, but there won't be a major home field advantage for Charlotte. Jerry Richardson Stadium only seats 15,000 plus and Maryland fans will likely show up for close to 1/3 of that. The Terps played average on offense last week and should be much sharper against a defense that was destroyed in their first 2 games. When you talk about Charlotte's quarterback situation, if Reynolds can't go, this game will be something like 45-10. If he plays, maybe they put up another touchdown, but he's missed a game now, and with conference play starting again on October 1st, they will need a healthy quarterback by then. Our team pick is Maryland minus 27 points. Charlotte's offense has not been doing too hot as they are averaging 18.5 points per game in the early stages of the season. The quarterback situation is not going to help matters. The biggest thing is the fact that these teams are more used to more methodical drives than quick scores, so that means there will be a great chance for time to go off of the clock. If you get a couple of punts in this game, you are immediately sweating the total if you take the over. The under has hit in 6 of the last 7 Terrapins games in September as well as in 4 of the previous 5 49ers non-conference games. Our total pick is under 65.5 points. Tennessee vs Pittsburgh. Year after year, sight to be set on high aspirations for the Volunteers, and while this season appears like it could be tough for them to challenge the Bulldogs, they at least look like one of the better teams in the division. A big reason for that is the talent they have on the roster, both from recruiting and taking advantage of the transfer portal as well. Last week saw them destroy Ball State, but there's no doubt that going on the road to the reigning ACC champs could prove to be problematic, especially after struggling to take them down last season. The Volunteers may have lost at home last year, but after drubbing Ball State last week, this group is well equipped to take care of Pittsburgh. Tennessee has a strong balance, and with their ability to take over on the ground, it is going to be a long day for a Pittsburgh defense that struggled last week against the run and appears to be undermanned this week. Adding in having one of college football's most experienced quarterbacks, Tennessee is built to get off to a 2-0 start. Our team pick is Tennessee minus 6 points. Pittsburgh scored 41 points in their first game. They threw for 308 yards and 1 touchdown and rushed for 76 yards and 3 touchdowns in the win. Keaton Slovis completed 66% of his passes for 308 yards and 1 touchdown in the win. Rodney Hammond Jr. had 16 carries for 74 yards and 2 touchdowns, while Jared Wayne had 3 catches for 89 yards. Hammond Jr. left the game against the Mountaineers with an injury and is questionable for this game. Pittsburgh struggled defensively against the Mountaineers, giving up 34 points in the win. They had no answers for West Virginia's ground game and will need to do a better job stopping the run if they want to pick up the win. The Volunteers scored 59 points in their season opener, and going back into last season, they have scored 45 points or more in 4 straight games. They can hurt the Panthers through the air and on the ground, and with Pittsburgh giving up close to 200 yards on the ground in their last game, expect another solid offensive performance from the Volunteers, who will score more than 30 points against the Panthers, who gave up 31 points in their last game. The Panthers scored 38 points in their last game and they did a good job moving the ball through the air. Even though the Volunteers played well defensively in their last game, they gave up a lot of yards through the air, so expect the Panthers to score enough points to push the score over the total. And NBSP. Tennessee played over the total in their last 7 games, while the Panthers played over the total in 8 of their last 10 home games. Our total pick is over 66.5 points. Memphis vs Navy. One thing Memphis is usually strong at is displaying an offense. They averaged 30 points per game and 435 yards per game of offense last season. But they tallied just 29 yards of offense in the first half, and that was with a returning quarterback in Seth Hennigan, who threw for 3,322 yards with 25 TDs last season. Hennigan wound up with just 165 yards passing with 1 TD. The running game was not relevant considering they were down big early, though Northern Illinois transfer Javen Ducker led the way with 63 yards and 2 TDs. Turnovers were not a major problem last season for the Mids. They were in just about every game and led the AAC in rushing with 225.5 yards per game. But finding a consistent quarterback has been an issue. Quarterback Ty Lavatai returns after rushing for 371 yards and 7 TDs last season. He fumbled 3 times, which ruined the offensive production. However, he rushed for just 34 yards on 18 attempts and went 5 of 13 for 135 yards. Lavatai was the only quarterback who played, and despite the mistakes, it appears that Namatalola will continue to ride him due to his experience. Defensively, Navy lost their best player in LB Diego Fagot after allowing just 348.6 yards per game, 34th. They held Delaware to just 13 rushing yards, but did give up 189 passing yards. The secondary could be an issue with 2 new starting corners this season. This will be an ugly rout. Navy struggled to move the ball against an FCS team, and part of that is on the offensive line, which has 2 returning starters. The other issue is a quarterback, and while Lavatai should clean up the mistakes, he's not as explosive a runner as previous Navy option quarterbacks. I could see them going back to Xavier Arline, but when the Mids get behind big, they can't come back with an option offense. Memphis has too much talent not to be put up points in the air against the Mids' young corners. Their offense picked up steam in the second half last week, and that will help propel them in this game. Our team pick is Memphis -6 points. Memphis traveled to Starkville to complete their home-and-home with Mississippi State, but didn't earn the same outcome as their 2021 meeting when the Tigers upset the Bulldogs 31-29 in Memphis. They look like a typical group of 5 team on the road against an SEC school. They started flat offensively, only scoring a field goal on the much-improved Mississippi State defense. On the other side of the ball, Will Rogers picked apart the Memphis secondary with 2 first-quarter touchdowns. 3 touchdowns in the second half showed some life, but the competition aspect of the game had already concluded. Navy, 11.5-point favorites, lost to the Fightin' Blue Hens of Delaware as underbettors rejoiced at the 14-7 score. The expectations for the midshipmen's season were low, but wow, this game was worse than South Dakota State and Iowa. The win total was at 4.5 before Saturday, and it doesn't get much easier than an FCS team from Delaware. Starting with a 1 positive, they gained more yards than Delaware. That's about it. A lifeless triple option offense that continues to rot away at the military schools, and Georgia Tech produced 184 yards on 63 attempts on the ground and an expectedly bad 5-13, 135 yards passing from quarterback Ty Lavatai. The defense held Delaware to 202 total yards, 13 rushing yards. 13, and 15% efficiency on third down, 2-13, but Nolan Henderson channeled his inner Joe Flacco with 2 touchdown passes, including the dagger, a 51-yard bomb to Chandler Harvin. Memphis's offense is predicated on pushing the tempo and scoring quickly. They were 52nd in the country last season in points per game at over 30 per contest. Last season the Tigers averaged around 71 plays per game at over 6 yards per play. Essentially, the Tigers averaged less plays than their opponents, but did so with more yards per play. Memphis's defense has generally held up against Navy's ground-oriented attack, holding them to 23 points per game over the 2 teams' last 3 meetings. Based on Navy's defensive efforts last week, I do not see them slowing down this Memphis offense enough to win, but enough to keep the total down. Our total pick is under 51 points.